Hey, good morning, Misfits. It is June 2nd. It is episode 468. I hope you are having an amazing day. Today, the conversation is, what are you allowing? Right? Yesterday, we talked about what are you resisting? And today, we have a little conversation about what are you allowing? What's showing up in your world? What is the thing that makes up your day? Because that's what you're allowing. So in understanding this basic formula, you got to ask yourself, what's coming in? What's getting past your filter? What are you allowing to step into your world? What are you allowing to show up in your days? Goes back to the very, very basic question that we normally say on the show. You have a choice, joy or misery. So as we get started this morning, I just want to take RBP, are you there? I know you're there, but can you chat yet?
Are you looking for me? I'm over here in the police zone trying to make sure everybody gets in.
I'll get that. I'll follow that for a second, but could you just clear your head for just a second and say just a prayer for all of the people that are having some issues, and business owners and people of the protesters and people getting hurt and not getting hurt? Just a little prayer for all those folks, for all of us.
Yeah, I'd love to. I would absolutely love to. Okay. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you that each one of us are in a place right now where we can gather on this phone call in a moment of peace, despite the distractions that are around us. Father, I lift up this whole world, this whole nation. I lift up every race, every creed, every color. Father, I ask right now that you remove the chaos that pits us against one another and help us to realize our likenesses, the sameness, the same qualities we have. You made each one of us in your image, Father. I ask that you help us to have eyes like yours to see the love in each other and to see the kindness in each other that's buried below the chaos and the confusion. I ask that you help us find ways to hold hands with each other, to greet one another, to forgive one another, and to remain in a place of love and choosing joy. Father, these are crazy times. You've told us they would come, and they're here. Help us to walk through these, choosing joy and choosing forgiveness, no matter what happens around us or to us or through us. Father, help us to keep focused, to keep our eyes on joy and love, to keep our eyes on you. Guide us, guide our thoughts, guide our actions, guide our fingers on the keyboard, guide our social media posts, guide our communication to one another. Help us get out of the way and lay any type of racism, frustration, division down, and see humans as humans. Help us to spread more love. Let this call be a catalyst of a vibration of love and joy and kindness. Father, I thank you that we have this moment together. I thank you that we have this community to be able to join together. I thank you have a place of solitude and oneness and love and joy. Help us to radiate that out as we move forward. Help what you bring to Sean settles on our ears and in our hearts properly, so we can take a moment to exhale fear and doubt and inhale your joy and your faith and your courage and your love. And let us breathe that out as we speak the rest of the day. I thank you for this moment. Thank you for this time together. Thank you for your love. We say all this in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Rhonda. And that's kind of brings us to the point of, what might we be allowing? Us. All right. I've heard a whole variety of things over the course of my careers of personal development and mental toughness and a variety of things. What will you allow today? What energies will you allow to come into you? What energies will you allow to take your joy or to bring you misery? Either way. And that's kind of so this Saturday again, we're going to have Dr. Amy come on and teach the breathing again. And if you weren't at that event the last time we did it, it's a pretty powerful event. She runs ultra marathons, and if you're not familiar with ultra marathons, those are marathons that are 100 miles, not 26 or not 50 miles, 100 miles long. And she helps people get out of pain and suffering. And she helped a guy on a call a couple of weeks ago who's dealing with a tremendous amount of stress. He's got stage 4 cancer, and he's just always exhausted. And all of a sudden, in one day, his wife asked him, she said, "Are you okay?" Because at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, he was still going and not tired. And it was by learning some of these breathing techniques. So Dr. Amy is going to come on Saturday. Navato, she's going to come on Saturday and just do some more breathing. I'd encourage you to have a paper straw and cut it in half, because she uses straws to teach how to breathing. So we'll do that on Saturday. So that's kind of amazing, and so that'll be fun. Yeah, what are you allowing today? What are you allowing to flow into your business? What are you allowing to flow into your mindset today? Yeah, there's a lot of noise out there, an awful lot of noise. You've got to decide what's going to serve you. You've got to decide what's going to move you forward. And the law of attraction truly does work. And they've done scientific studies on how many people need to be holding in prayer to change things at a local level, at a national level. Back when Bill Clinton was president, he was sending he had declared war on Iraq and was sending bombers and fighters over to Iraq for a wave of invasion. And somehow, it's the first time in U.S. history, all of that war machinery was recalled. At about 2:30 in the morning, he called it all back. And funny thing was, when you do the review of why something like that happened, there was a global prayer vigil that was going on. They had no idea about the potential of the attack that was happening. It was just a global prayer vigil that was happening at the same time. And funny how peace started to come about. So I say all of that to say, just be aware of what's happening in your world, right? There's no economy out there. There's only your economy. And there's only the frustration that exists is your frustration. I get it. I get it. Other things are happening, and just be aware of what you allow you to deal with. And as that happens, and when you start to have conversations today, right? If we're still looking to build our businesses and take care of people and provide value, that those conversations are going to possibly be front and center. Now, what you'll find is that you're going to find more people who are looking for ways to put control back into their world, controls back over their income, controls back over their destiny and their direction. And I believe I saw a post the other day. Somebody said that our profession done correctly, will lose so many of its bad reputation. Our conversations done in the intent we design, they're designed to be done with, loving, caring, sharing, lifting people up. Our profession will take on a whole new look and a whole new feel as we go through these challenges. All right. So, and I did see a funny post. I don't know if anybody has seen a funny post this post. Um, did we skip the murdering hornet? Right, you know, that big old hornet that came from Japan or wherever it came from. Somebody said, "Did we skip that? Is that already over?" And I don't think that's already over either. So I see a couple of hands up. Good morning, Latoya. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Great day, Sean.
Good morning.
How everyone doing? How are you doing?
Doing well.
Awesome. Awesome. I had a an eye-opening moment probably like a few days ago, you know, when all this, you know, stuff that happened, and
Right.
it came to me that it's just low frequency causing a huge distraction. Because I mean, years ago, you know, Sean, you know, different mindset, all that. I probably would have been out there in the streets as well, right? Not bombing anything, but you see what I'm saying? Put my life in harm's way. But I mean, I understand what's going on. Yeah, it was completely wrong. But in the same sense, it's a huge distraction. And because of self-development and communities like this, this might go over some people's heads, but I'm gonna touch on it. Racism is nothing but a low frequency system that people brought to life, and it's showing front. But when you're in communities like this, it really does not exist, because we're not looking at each other because of our skin color, but we are helping each other grow because of our mindsets, you all. And it just comes to me all the time, and I'm just like, wow. And this is a proven fact that when we're on calls like this, that racism and prejudice, all that stuff really do not exist. What happened was a lot of low frequencies agreed to bring something to life that made a huge distraction, while people are out here in these streets, busting up, cops doing this, and, the bad cops doing this. I'm not going to put all the cops in the same category, because some are really good. But the bad one, getting exposed and all this other stuff. It just really saying that's a distraction to push some kind of agenda while nobody is paying attention. So I think that, like, that's my time right there. I just want to put that out there. I've been wanting to say it, but at that time I was afraid that I kind of was addicted to people's approval. I was afraid, like, how can you say that, blah blah blah. But now I'm not afraid to say it. I just believe that it's really just a low frequency system that a lot of people brought to life. And we got to understand 95% of people in the world, world population, they operate on a certain frequency. It's only a low number that operate on a higher frequency. And we haven't just be right there in that percentage. And it came to me. So I just want to put that out there. Thank you so much, Sean.
Well, Latoya, I appreciate you sharing that and saying that, because that's an awareness, that's an awakening, and truth is truth. And the things that happened out there, absolutely despicable. What happened, that somebody's life was taken, absolutely, and that needs justice.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not against that at
No,
all. Yeah.
I trust me. I know you are all for that. And my point is that what's happening now is vengeance. And so this
Right.
this is happening it's happening at a scale that's visible. Follow me on this. That's visible. Yet we do this sometimes in our own families. Vengeance. Right, where we steal stuff from other. We steal stories from other. We steal happiness from other. But that's just called, that's my jackass brother, or this, that, and the other, or all of these things that happen. So that's why I caution us to be aware of what we are allowing. We can say we're not participating. I get that. And we can say a whole bunch of things, but the reality is what are you allowing? Right? This is where that phrase comes in. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And I'm not saying that, well, do I have to be out in the front lines? No. This is kind of like your family member that doesn't support you when you're doing your business. You don't have to be out in the front lines, but you don't need to be knocking me down while I'm sitting at the kitchen table trying to make a phone call or trying to get on an incentive trip or trying to do something. So this is the pressure. This is the cauldron that's been brewing since we all got sent home, right? God said, you all go home, sit down. And we all went home. We all had to sit down. We all had to change the way we do things. And now all of a sudden, right, that phrase I heard earlier, we put our authority in something we had no authority over. And you're right, it is a low vibration. Low vibration is, again, Mason did a science experiment on it when we talk about the secret, the hidden message in water, and we talk about Emoto doing the rice experiment. Mason did it with just sound. And it's the sound frequency that's in a lot of video games, 19 hertz. And when he just put the earbuds on the little jar, the little baby food jar, and he put the low frequency vibration there, and he put the high frequency vibration over here, the same thing happened as if you said the words of love and hate to it.
Wow.
Funny thing was, LaToya, is that the second year he did the sound experiment, he did 4 jars, and he did it 2 negative, and he took one of the negatives halfway through and put it over on the positive side and put positive earbuds on it, and it healed the rice. Not completely, didn't have enough time.
Okay.
But it turned the rice back. Now, wait a minute. We didn't give it an inoculation. We didn't give it any antibiotic. We didn't give it anything other than changing the frequency it sat in, it was bathed in.
Wow.
So, I say that to say, yes, your words might have healed somebody today. Not even on this call. That's what I'm talking about. You allowed that love in. And can I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
I love you. I would imagine you out there. I would imagine your strength there, somewhere in the front lines, being the one with a voice. Your voice hasn't left that energy either, so I need you to know that.
Right. Because it was like, it's certain people who I associate with, but it's like when I seen it was a lot of them doing the same thing, and then some people are out there looting. They found this a great opportunity to go and steal, and then I had to think about it. So if you're out there, you're a mother, and you have 3 children, and you out there putting yourself on the line like that in harm's way, and if some were to go off, you've been right there and got hit because and I'm just like, wow, it was like, it came to me like, Toy, have you changed? Like you can't, I realized that I've just been like awakened just to realize what's really going on. And it was like mind boggling, but it was like putting the pieces of the puzzle together, like, like rapid. So all that's going on and the power that may be, they understand frequency levels, you all. So they does set up events like this that so they could push a law behind. I think in New York, I think they have a curfew now. They pushing this thing, and I just haven't noticed this. I had a conversation with myself, Sean. I was like, man, if I say this, I'm afraid my own people going to just they're gonna blackball me. It was like, oh my God, I don't think I should say that because it is real. But then 95% of people in the real population operate on a certain frequency, and I just felt more. It was like a quote unquote safe haven to say it here before I took it anywhere else, because I think it still was like the addiction of people's approval.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, yes, but then in a way, like, no. But yeah, it came to me more than once that's all with racism and prejudice, all these things, is to keep humanity divided. Because when we all understand now that we're all connected spiritually. We're connected on a certain frequency. And when you understand that, you don't, I mean, you don't even look at a person because of their skin color no more, you know. And I'm be honest with you, years ago, I'm be honest with you, you know, I wasn't like racist and nothing like that. It was just like identify, you know, what was brought to life. But at the more spiritual development, you know, it took years, you know, and me come from the streets of Oakland, you know, you hear about it a lot, you know. I even told by some of my friends, only white people trade and blah, 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 but they operate on a certain frequency. So I had to let them go. You know, it either was be consumed by their frequency or let go and rise up above it. So I'm just thankful for people like you all, because we all making a difference. It may seem like a small number right here in this huge world, but we actually just made a huge impact. Can you just imagine, just started with us here? We just did a ripple effect as of now, because it's not only us, it's other people that not even in this community yet. They even awakened to realize the same thing been happening, and they noticing that it's just a distraction. And that's no matter what color a person is, they all are realizing it is just a distraction. That's why they're not really participating out there in those streets, because they starting to realize, hey, they've been doing the same thing. And then next thing you know, they come up with different laws and this. Now, and that we just did a ripple effect on a frequency level. I felt it, and I felt I just had to share it here. And I just want to thank each and every one of you all. You know, just being open, being transparent, and here for a change. And there's a real self-development right here. Well, you call it self-undevelopment, but I'm just saying.
Well, Latoya, as you were speaking, I don't know if anybody else was speaking it, but I was feeling the vibration literally in my body as you were speaking, the high vibration. So I
Yes.
appreciate you. And you are being called upon to be a leader at this moment. You are being called upon to speak that message. And here's the thing. If we're not feeling the high vibration and we're feeling something else, we're letting it in. We have control over this little 3 pounds of gray matter up here that we can decide to produce the chemical cocktail in there called love, called joy, called energy. And yeah, I listen, I can't even begin to imagine, but I've been through moments where I've lost everything. That has nothing to do with the color of my skin or anything else, but knowing that you can sit there and go and look for what is good. Because here's the thing, listen, y'all know this, it could get worse. It could be a lot better, absolutely, but it could, Jim Rohn would say, listen, it's not as good as it could be, it's not as bad as it could be. Yeah, this is horrible, but it could spiral out and go a whole nother level, and we go, wow. Right? Like Les Brown says, when I did the interview with him, and when he was talking on Kyle's mastermind 2 weekends ago, 2019, can you come back? I'm sorry I said bad things about you 2019. He said, could you please come back? Please come back. I'll be good. I'll say nice things about you. Right? Because 2020 has just been a kick in the pants. So
yes.
So thank you, Latoya, for being this brave soul who's been through tragedies, who's been through recent tragedies, who's been through all of this, and still has a choice to speak joy and to speak truth in this moment and share it with us.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure always, Sean. I love you all, and I'm grateful for you all.
Praying for all of us as well. And thank you, Latoya, for your words and your messages. I appreciate you. It sounds easy. It sounds myopic. It sounds utopian. It sounds all of these things. You're putting your head in the sand or this, that, or the other. The reality is we've got a choice. And it's not that doing nothing is doing nothing. This is truly an energetic moment in history that is necessary. It's about math. That's what it really is. It's about math. It always is. And vibration and sound, they accumulate. It's not two sounds together don't sound the same. They increase in sound. So vibrationally, what are you allowing in? Right? There's people who called me the other day and they asked me if I'm okay. And I'm like, what do you mean, am I okay? Well, the stuff that's going on around you. I go, there's nothing going on around me. Yeah, just up the road from you. I go, that's up the road from me. That's not around me. And people want to put us into, because we're in Texas, because you're in New York or LA or wherever the challenges are, people assume, well, you've got to be seeing it, you've got to be aware of it. I choose to not be aware of it because it doesn't serve me, doesn't serve my family. Conscious of it, yes, but sitting worrying about it, it may sound childish or sophomoric, but this is what happens when we sit down with a prospect. There is challenges going on in their world that you know nothing about. Everybody that you have a conversation with today is going to have a challenge that you know nothing about. And if they're sitting down with you, I would encourage you to thank them for having the courage to sit down with you, to have a conversation with you, whether they do anything with you or not. The amount of courage that it takes for somebody to ask you about your business, the amount of courage it takes for somebody to say, I will take a look at what you're doing, the amount of courage it takes for somebody to say in their own mind, what I'm doing isn't working. Can you imagine the courage it would take for people to lay down their protest and just walk home? How many times have we had a conversation with a prospect who is rallying against something they have in their life? Not enough money, not enough time, not enough freedom, not enough joy, not enough, you fill in the blank. And for them to let down that guard, to put down that old story and walk away from it. Listen, we're trying to do it in the privacy of our own homes and we can't do it. We find it a challenge. We break down in tears. Listen, I'm in that bucket as well. When we talk about our old stories from childhood, from yesterday, somebody says something or looks at us wrong or does something, and we put up such a resistance to letting go of the old story that it breaks us down, and we go into tears. We lose control, and that's us giving up an old story that we've owned, let alone an old story that's been given to us, an old story that's the new story, us versus them. All of our stories are always us versus them that don't serve us. This is just now manifesting to where people aren't quite sure why they're doing what they're doing, and they just, it's herd mentality. We're all part of the same herd. It's why we can see things on news and TV and read things and we instantly form opinions. Based upon the information that you've had flow into your world in the last 24, 48 hours, how has that served you and your family? If you have little children, how is you becoming enraged or frustrated or developing new opinions or saying things about situations you really don't have any firsthand experience in? How has that served your children? Just energetically. If your kids are made up of half of you, and you got frustrated, bent out of shape while you're still in your house with your power on and your running water and your opportunity to have fresh food. What you getting bent out of shape yelling at the TV, what did that do for your kids who really don't have any control over how the energy flows into their body yet? They don't have a choice yet. What are you allowing into your body? What are you allowing into your mind? This isn't a question of whether what's going on is right or wrong. This is just about energetic flow of what are you allowing into your world? I want to be informed. Awesome. I'd encourage you to meditate for 2 hours before you go get informed so you can understand the filter through which you see things. Just a suggestion. It's your world. There is only your world. Mine exists in a whole nother level of time and space, and so does everybody else's. We're all living in the same world at the exact same second in time, but we're all on this vertical scale of my time is here, your time is there, your time is here. Your view of the world. What does your world look like? Now, this is where we talk about being able to walk in somebody else's shoes. What does somebody else's world look like? I promise you, from 90 miles southeast of here, the world looks completely different. Now, it's kind of similar because we have conversations all the time. But the stuff that's happened up here in the big city probably ain't happening in Tyler, Texas. So for me to say, well, just 7 miles from here, there was 2 pallets of bricks delivered, and now they're trying to recall all of that, all of the developments that were having their walls rebuilt. They're telling the companies to go pick up all the bricks. That made a string of comments inside of the Nextdoor app, whatever the heck that is, of people just absolutely going berserk. Are you kidding me? I wanted to type in there going, do y'all have families? If people understood the poison they were feeding their family with their energy, do you know how many people would be taken to jail for child abuse? Some of you on this call grew up with that kind of poison pouring into your life. Yeah, but you don't understand. You're right. I don't. I honestly don't. I maybe at one time I did. And is it an idea of understanding, or is it an idea of I don't know how to fix it? I can't fix the world. I can do my best to take care of my family. And whatever winds up, whatever energy my family flows into, whatever place and time I find myself, then I've got to adjust and adapt accordingly. But I seem to be sitting here pretty safe right now. Why would I take time? Listen, Bob Proctor says, if you want to be rich, don't hang around with poor people. How come people still listen to him? Why do people still listen to Bob Proctor? Why do people listen to Wayne Dyer or read Napoleon Hill? Why? When he says, if you want to be rich, don't hang around poor people. If you want to be healthy, don't hang around sick people. Because that makes sense. Because that makes good logical sense. So if you want the world to be better, why would you hang out with people who don't want the world to be better? There's ways to bake a cake. putting it in an oven at 500 degrees probably isn't going to get you a good result. So what can we do? Somebody asked, how do you protect yourself? I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be difficult. Protect yourself physically, that's a whole nother issue. That's a whole nother issue. But mentally, energetically, I'd have music playing. This is all about volume. What do you have flowing into your life? Do you have media on? Are you checking Facebook every 10 minutes for an update? As it relates to the situations around town, are you doing more Google news search than Google can provide? This isn't about being uninformed. This is about making sure your world, your energy that flows into you passes on. Listen, how do we know? How do we know when we do, when they take cores, when they go up to the Arctic and they take core samples? How come they can tell me the weather 500 years ago? Because it left a mark in the ice, didn't it? How can they take a core of a tree and tell me when there were forest fires, when there were droughts? It leaves a mark, doesn't it? So if we were to take a core of your history right now in the last 60 days, did your growth stop? If we were to take a core sample of your life and somebody was going to look 10 years from now and they were going to look at the first two quarters of 2020, man, they were going awesome in 2019, but something happened in like the second quarter of 2020, their growth stopped. Ada, TV isn't the issue. You haven't had it on in 14 years. I get it. So but there's other things that we're letting flow into our world. See, I can tell you this, because of you, because of every one of you on here and everybody that's flowed through this call, my growth has gone exponential. And I have you to thank for that. I show up, but if I show up here by myself, and some of you know I would, I don't have the chance to get feedback. I don't have the chance to have a dialogue. Because of you, I have a chance, an opportunity to create a dialogue, an energetic increase. And I'm grateful for that. So my growth rings on me, the tree, right? They're like, man, what was this guy? Is this the same core sample? Right? You ever see that? They take a core sample in Antarctica and then they go up to the Arctic and they take a core sample and they're like, wait a minute, the two of them, they're totally different, but it's the same time frame. And then they got to investigate what happened regionally, right? You know, I've been blessed to go to Europe many times. And I remember the first time I went to Europe, people who had traveled there said, just be aware of some of the underlying tone against the US. Like, what do you mean? They go, you'll see it, you'll get it. So the first time I went, I realized that in the UK and across Europe, they've got doorknobs that are older than our country. Doorknobs older than our country. Now, our country has been around. The world's been around. It's not like this part of the world just popped up. But as a union, they got doorknobs older than our country. So I went with the intent of honor and respect. And then the next time I went, I would always make sure that my bags, any of the things that I carried around, like my roller bags or my computer bags, they had international symbols on them, be it Canada or Ireland, right? I would change it based upon my trips. And when they would see that it wasn't the proud U.S. flag flying or this, that, or the other, this indignant display of U.S., the conversations were much different. And then when they realized I was from the U.S., they said, "Wow, you're a little more open-minded." I said, "No, I'm not any more open-minded than I was the last time you thought I was a jerk." My point is this. Things are regionalized. I can't even begin to imagine. Somebody said their whole neighborhood is gone. They can't buy anything. I grew up outside of Cleveland. The stories that are going on there. But I can't imagine the fear, right? And it's no different than a 9/11. It is trauma. It is tragedy. And these are scars that people are going to have to get through. And there's going to, you know what the sad thing is there's people who are going to be so affected by this that never left their house. They've never left their house, and they're going to be afraid. There's a very dear friend of mine's daughter was sitting in the middle of God's country in a safe environment and in tears. I can understand the in tears based upon what's happening, the sadness, but it was as if they were right in the middle of it and they had put themselves there. They were sitting in the middle of, they were 100 miles from any place that would even think of anything like this. Where are you putting yourself right now? You listen, I promise you this. Here's what I know based on my 54 years of experience. Those of you on this call that choose to be of a nature that will be of service and not a servant, that will help people awaken to their own, I don't want to say misguidedness, to their own stature of what they've allowed in their life, and to sit cautiously with them and confidently with them and ask them, do you want to own that story? How long do you want to own that story? You will all change the face of this planet. And I don't mean in your city or your neighborhood. There's a higher calling for you. Not because it's my call, it's because you're on a call like this at this moment. There is a higher calling for you. There's people who are going to be on this call that will become household names. And I'll say, I remember them when they were on my call. I know them. In truth, I say it's every one of you. And there's calls like this going on all around the country. There are. I hope there are. Some of you are doing your own. Thank you. I will say this, the 102 of us can't do it alone. Together we can. Together we can have a conversation. We're going to have to be a little bit smarter than the average bear. And what I mean by that is we have to be able to say no to the old story. And you want to know the funny thing? Do you want to know when the old story was? About 2 seconds ago. That's going to be the hard thing. To let go of what happened this morning, to let go of what happened yesterday, not let go and forget, to let go and remember what needs to still be done. Justice still needs to happen. There people, accountability. We talk about it all the time in our profession. We talk about it all the time in our profession. Accountability is accountability. And this may be a far stretch. When we have a conversation with somebody who sits across from us, and they're looking for us to hold joy or misery in our hands for them, we have to be able to hand it back to them. We have to be able to hand back to them the joy they want or the misery they choose. We can't take it with us. We can't say we're responsible for anybody's success. Because if we say that, then we have to also take the responsibility for their failures. And my heart can't take that. It's why you'll hear me pay very close attention to, I would encourage you, I would suggest, quite possibly, maybe it would serve you if you chose to do something along these lines. It's in the injected values that our hearts get hurt. Now, I understand children, right? Kids, Mason's 16. I can still give him strong suggestions of what he needs to do or should do or what would guide him well. Yet when we sit across as somebody who has the chance to allow somebody freedom as they venture into our profession, when we talk about what we do, we're truly the cure, not the cause. And what happens when somebody comes out with the cure for something? When somebody comes out with, we've heard people come out with beverages that are healthy beverages. And what do we hear? We hear Coca-Cola buys them up and shuts down the whole operation. We hear the competition buy up these companies that could have tremendous value, but we never know about them. Here's my question to you. When you go out and you share your story, you share your business opportunity, you share the chance to help people have more, do more, be more, who's buying up your story and throwing it away? It's the same thing. You're these entrepreneurs of greatness. You're these entrepreneurs of incredible aptitude, attitude. You do all of these amazing things, and then your story gets bought up and thrown in the trash because the prospect can't hear it. The other story has more volume. Could you imagine that? If every time you went out and had a conversation with a prospect, they buy your idea. How many of us have had people buy the idea of getting started and then we never hear from them again? How many people have actually bought into our business and they said, yeah, I'm in, and they got started and they never really did anything? I get it sometimes. Listen, that's what I've said before. It's not that your desire isn't strong. Maybe the plan isn't strong for you. God was pretty smart when he made, at least he's got apples and pears, because maybe not everybody likes apples. How could you not like an apple? There's probably people who don't like apples. Our competition is not one another. Our competition is fear and doubt. Our competition is people looking to put their authority in something they have no authority over. And when we say you can take your authority back, you can sit and you can stand tall, you can sit at your kitchen table and take control of your own life and your own destiny by the way you think, the way you act, the way you present yourself. And there's business models out there that allow you to get paid for the value you bring to the marketplace. Listen, it doesn't take long to to look at some of the things going on, regardless of race, color, or creed, it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to throw a brick through a window. You're now seeing people stand in front of those windows. We've been standing in front of those windows of fear and doubt for over 100 years in this profession. Each one of you is standing in front of a window of fear and of faith and courage, and you got people throwing bricks at you called fear and doubt every single day. Well, Sean, it's not the same thing. I disagree. I say every one of you are those people who are, I'm getting emotional, are standing up in front of those windows of faith and courage. And every day you take a brick, you take a hit on you. Am I doing this enough? Am I strong enough? Am I capable enough? You stand up and you go do a live video, and you do a live video and you're scared to death, and you video from your waist up because maybe you pee your pants. But you're scared as hell and you still do it. And then there's no applause. There's no applause. Nobody shows up and comes knocking on your door and goes, "Hey, Julia, you did an amazing job. Eve, I loved your video yesterday. Not quite sure what you were saying, but you look good doing it." Nobody shows up and does that. And then we say, my life is worth a like on social media. My life is judged by a view on social media. I call BS. And I do mean bull, you know what, in case we got kids listening. You're better than a like on a video. You're better than a hand up or a heart. But yet we get one jackass who shows up and goes, "This is stupid." And we go, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this." That was a brick. That was a bunch of bricks. That caused you to say no to your dreams. That was a whole bunch of 1,000 people. One comment could be 1,000 people who've told you in the past, "You're not good enough." Listen, you've been dealing with protesters your entire life. Every one of you. Your old story. Did it make the news? No. Should it have? Hell yeah. Some of you have had some things done to you that there's not enough tear gas in the world to make people cry as much as you've cried. I want you to hear this, because we're putting so much attention onto the not so good that's going on out there. Well, not so good's been not going on in your life, but you've been able to deal with it. And here's the reality. Here's the reality. A man died. Many men have died. We don't hear about the mom who died and committed suicide because she was told she wasn't good enough. We don't hear about the dad who takes his life because they fired him and he can't take care of his family. Where's the protest for them? Where's the protest for you and what you went through? Oh, it's not the same thing. I disagree. You all are human lives as well. We talk about his dreams got snuffed out. I get it. Justice needs to be done. But how many of your dreams got snuffed out because what somebody said to you? I don't see anybody throwing a brick for you. Do I agree with what's going on there? Absolutely not. But I think if the words in a pretty good book say something, charity begins where? And charity doesn't mean asking for a handout. Charity means taking care of those that you can take care of, who can't take care of themselves. Well, you can take care of yourself now. You can stand up in this moment and you can make a decision to say, today's the day I've had enough. We see protesters with signs standing in front of windows with and where people are trying to break into stuff, and they say, no, stop. And we're calling them heroes. I agree. But you know what? I call every one of you a hero. There have been people who have been throwing bricks at you mentally, emotionally, physically. Some of you have had to deal with unthinkable things physically, and you still woke up this morning. What will you allow into your life? You are an amazing creature, I believe, of God. I believe you're the most unique individual on this planet. I believe there's a story inside of you the world needs to hear. Well, now's not the right time. Now is the only time. Now is the only time. And I think your story needs to be heard. Now, our tension's a little high out there, and maybe you talking about life being good, talking about, well, nobody wants to build a business right now. You know what? There's thousands, there's 48 million US Americans who are unemployed that really need to find you today. And here's the challenge. If they don't find you, they might find me. They might find somebody else. Your voice needs to be heard. You're too important to be kept quiet. You just are. Well, I don't know what to say. Then say that. I say we, the 133 of us, we need to take back the airwaves. We need to take back talking about what life is about and what possibilities are about. You need to tell your story. If you want to pray for people, go online and pray for people. Are your friends going to start saying crazy things to you? Mm-hmm. Then you got to question, what's my definition of a friend? Every one of you is this amazing soul who has this perfect time and place to become more perfect. There is something inside of you that is waiting to be said. And what's that thing? Tammy Mitchell, who's a very dear friend of mine, Tammy Mitchell Thrasher, says, your vibe will create your tribe. What are you vibing at? I'll take it one step further. Who are you tribing with? You have an incredible gift. Every one of you has an incredible gift. And that gift is your story. That gift is your energy. If we all believe that our thoughts can influence our day, what did you wake up to this morning? What did you allow in? What did you allow in to your life today? Well, it's everywhere, Sean. How do I say no? Well, don't go everywhere. Yeah, it is your Fred, it is your vibe attracts your tribe. What your vibe attracts your tribe. But the question is who are you tribing with? Meaning, are you attracted to their vibe or are you attracted to yours? Is this helpful? This isn't, I don't know what we were going to talk about today, but I hope this is powerful. I hope it serves you well. Julia, I see your hand up, my love.
Yes. Hi, Sean. Hi.
Hello, my love.
Wow. Well, this was so powerful. And it's so true what Latoya said. And thank you, Sean, for also standing up for it. And with everything that's going on. I think this is like an important conversation to have, but like especially you talking about like what are you allowing, and like for me it's and for me it's also like I'm trying to do better, and I'm trying to like, you know, like be conscious and knowing that we have a choice and everything. But me personally, like I don't watch the news and everything, but it's everywhere. And as soon as I go on social media, I'm like, I can feel it. I know why I'm exhausted. I'm mad. And racism, I get the whole frequency thing, but if you grow up with it, and if you are of that color, and if it's part of your every generation that you have in your family and your daily life, is kind of difficult. But for me personally, it was like seeing both sides, and me knowing like I get to protest absolutely, but it's like, first of all, it's not the first time, and I get the fact of hearing your voice, but it's like, we're going to be mad. Everybody is like an internet warrior. Everybody has to voice their opinion. And then what happens? There's like many times that we did this. Obviously, it's not working. And it's like, especially with social media, it's like, what are we actually trying to change? And then me personally, I thought like, of course, I think it's important to educate people, but it's so exhausting. It's like, we only have so much energy. What can we personally do? Like, let's look at our communities. How can we empower them? And especially with this business, I thought like, well, honestly, I know that personally in my community, a lot of us lack access to education. We lack access to finances. We have not a lot of economical power. So I was like, me personally, I would want to take that energy and instead put it into educating our communities or educating people, like, you know, growing our economical power and actually changing the things that we can change. But it's like continuously back and forth, and it's like you're being constantly like pulled between so many different things. But yeah, it's hard, because yes, when you do decide to focus more on the positive and focus what we have power over, like being those leaders, and you know, the conversation that we have here is like everybody attacks you on it. It's like, oh yeah, but you know, especially me, I'm mixed, so I'm too white to be black, and I'm too black to be white. So that's like a whole different conversation. But
Right.
I'm tired of speaking and being angry and, you know, having an opinion and understanding everything. I think it needs to be voiced, but at the same time, it's like, but what do we do at the same time? What actions do we take personally to change everything?
So
So
a couple actions you might be able to take is just start telling your story. Because there's 1,000 people who are just like you who are afraid to start telling their story. Listen, I'm gonna. Do we have any Jewish folks on the call this morning? I think I know a couple of you. Okay, so my mother was Russian Jew, so that makes me Jewish, right? Because if your mother was Russian, you're in that tribe. I was raised Catholic, but you know why you don't hear? You know why you see a lot of, and this could be totally stereotypical, but the Jewish community is a very tight community.
that's what I was saying as well.
Yeah, and why do they control Hollywood, and why do they control all of these things, and why do we always consider them, you know, when you think of Jewish, it's always about money? Well, because they decided to educate and learn the finances.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't complain about something unless you're willing to do it, right? And so they said, well, if we're going to get kicked out of our country, how many times? And then we're going to have all of this stuff that happens to us, the concentration camps.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still talk about it. But I haven't seen people with yarmulkes on running around in the streets.
Yeah, but it's a fact. We lack unity in our community. It's everything else that is true, and the racism is true. We lack unity. And even here in Antwerp, like where I live, the Jewish community has their own police station, and they're hated by a lot of people. There's a lot of discrimination against them, but they took actions and they changed things for themselves. And like I said,
so then let's start with you. What can you do today to bring value to your community? What can you write a chapter? Can you write a paper and post it and say, here's a couple of, listen, it's got to start with somebody. And I promise you, you're as qualified as Gandhi to get started. You're as qualified as Mother Teresa to start right where you are. We all are.
But how much do you believe in like the protests and all? Because even the protests, they even use it to like riot and
Well,
you know,
well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If we were to count up all of the people protesting, would we hit 1 million people? Maybe. The people marching, protesting, doing all of this stuff. Is it 2 million people? 2 million versus 350? That's a math problem. So how many does it take to change the tide? How many does it take to adjust the sail? And I forget who says it, but for every 100 hacking at the trees of success, nobody's paying attention to the one hacking at the roots. It only takes one at the roots. Can you go and protect the roots? Can you start something today that will build a statue to you for in 20 years? That's the hard part, because are you statue worthy? Yes. You're statue worthy to me, sitting right where you are, knowing the stories you've been through already. Every one of you is statue worthy. The challenge is we don't think we're worthy enough to have a statue built to us. Listen, this is going to sound egotistical, but there's a 100-foot statue to me somewhere already. It's just somebody ain't got the paperwork done yet. They're waiting on the city council to approve the paperwork. I got no doubt about that. Because that's the impact I choose to make. Are you worthy of a statue? And I say yes, Julia. You're statue worthy. Every one of you is statue worthy. I've been watching Kim Brown's posts in the comments. Kim Brown is statue worthy. Can we decide that we're worthy enough and go out and do the work that people are wanting to build a statue to us for? Gandhi started by throwing his registration in a little fire. Silence does have power. So I'd ask yourself, what could you do today? And if the answer is, I don't know, then the only answer is something. If the answer is, I don't know, the only answer is something, because then the reticular activating system, and then all of a sudden things start to show up and things start to appear, and you'll go, I had no idea where this was going. And you start to listen to the downloads that you get. And you start to listen to that inner soul of you, that inner child in you that has the straight hair and goes, I can't believe you have all this curly hair. That little child inside of you with the straight hair goes, here's what we're going to do. And that smile will heal hearts, my love. That smile that shows up will heal hearts. And that's maybe all you need to start with. Because I got to tell you, that's more than most got. You're this amazing, brilliant soul who's already been tested in the fires of doubt and fear and frustration and aggravation. And yet, Julia, in Antwerp, you get to smile today. How many people has the choice of smiling been taken away from them because they didn't know they had a choice to keep it? Just a simple smile. Every one of you are so capable of giving somebody a smile. If we all say, and I'm going to ask you right now, I didn't start off with this because my mind was squirrely. Go ahead and send out your 3 messages of joy of gratitude. Maybe you sent it, go send 3 more. Go send 100 today. You want to affect 940 people? Everybody go send 100. That'd be 9,000. I got to do my math. 10 would be 900. If we all went and sent 100, 9,000 people would be better today. And what if we asked them, what if we did this? Here, this is downloading. What if we did this? What if you ask them, hey, forward this to 3 people, send them a message, and then send them another message that says, hey, could you do me a favor? I need a little more joy in the world. Could you just forward that to 3 people? Because you're a leader. And leaders give people a direction in which way to go. And if we started to give people a direction in which way to go, what would happen? What would happen if everybody sent it out to 3 people? And all of those 3 people sent it out to 3 people? Listen, you only got to touch, I think it's 18 people, 52 times, and we've got the world covered. You want to start a revolution? Let's be leaders. They're called world leaders. Not world followers, world leaders. Send out some messages and then suggest to them, hey, could you do me a favor? I need a couple more smiles in the world. I'm working on making a difference. Could you just forward that to 3 of your friends? And if you want, forward the message that asks them to forward it. Why don't we start one of those pass it on chains that really makes a damn difference?
Mhm.
See what you started in me, Julia? You started this. You did. You started that little rant right there. And for that, I'm grateful. Does that help?
Thank you, Sean.
Well,
Always.
thank you. I love you bunches.
Love you too.
Could it possibly be the next one? Let's go to Miami. Hey, Eve.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Well, what can I say with all this? According to everything that you're talking, first I want to say I did my 100 list of the things, and I actually went way over.
Good. And that showed up in your video yesterday of you doing your before and afters. Or listen, your before is pretty hot and your after is even hotter, but I didn't, it's like, what was wrong with, there was nothing wrong with it before, but no, I saw your muscles in your belly. So,
And that was actually where I was going with that video. Like, I'm a very sensitive person, and like I feel that I'm in a horror movie right now, like with everything going through social media or just listening to my husband's news. I don't watch them. I couldn't even see the video of this person standing in his neck. I couldn't hear that. Like emotionally, I just can't unless I'm in front of a camera, because
right.
that's what I do. That's my job. There, I need to be 100% vulnerable so I can receive and perform.
Right.
But if I don't, I need to have my energy completely up. So yesterday when I woke up, I start seeing like a bunch of black, 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 and I'm like, what is going on? And I just chose not to do the black thing yesterday, because I think we are, all of us, and it's not about the Black lives, it's about humanity. We are talking about Black right now because they are in danger, right? But we are all are. As an immigrant, I was very humiliated and very mistreated from a Black person um, from the police in the airport, that they were going to deport me and how they treat me. Like, so it is not about a color, it's about how we can protect each other. Um, and what I wanted to focus yesterday was to be the light, to be the positive energy that people needed. And that's why my video, my music from my country make me happy. It makes me my energy up, and that's what I wanted to share. And many people try to put that down, but I just simply block it. Like, I cannot go through with what everybody wants, and I need to focus on what I can control. And what I can control, it's me, it's my business, and through my business, I can impact the life of others. This is the family of one of my girls in my team.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I need to be doing. I need to share my story because me changing me, helping her, I can change the life of those kids. I can change the life and generations of those kids, their kids, and many more kids. So I think that this is what I needed to focus, and this is where my energy was, and this is what I'm trying to do. And I just lost my train of thought.
Well, Eve, I can tell you this. I can tell you that what you do is amazing, and there is only our individual worlds. Everybody that's marching the streets, they have their own individual worlds. Everybody that's watching has their own individual worlds, and everybody is capable of making their own decisions. And what you've decided to do to help take care of those that are on your team, that's what we all want to do. And the only way you can take care of those on your team is to start with you. To think the answer is outside. Every time that anybody has gotten through any serious challenge in their life, they've always had to go in. They've always had to find that inner strength, that inner fortitude, that inner conversation. And in doing that, they were able to address the outside world. Every one of us on this call, every one of us that has thoughts, opinions, conversations, whether they inspire us or enrage us, that's our choice whether they inspire or enrage us. That's their choice whether they want to say something that seems productive or seems non-productive, because it's all interpretation. If somebody says anything negative in the comments in the chat that's going on here, what if they said it in a language we didn't understand? What if they called every one of us, you big stupid jerks, but they said it in, I don't know, Cambodian language? We'd all go, I wonder what that says. And we'd all move on. But if somebody says something that we happen to understand and it's against what we want, how is it against what we want? You didn't say it. So I applaud you for taking care of you. And because you didn't know what the blackout pages were, you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to keep going doing what I need to do. So I applaud you for doing that. And putting that why in place of that picture of the family, of changing that for generations, that's a good thing. So I applaud you for that. And so what I would encourage you to do is to listen more of that music. I'd play that as often as you can, your home music, the stuff that gets you dancing and moving and shaking, because energy is. Because I promise you, anybody that saw your video yesterday, they smiled, they laughed. Some were jealous of your waistline. Oh, I wish I had that. But for the most part, people smiled. We need some more smiles. We just do. We need some more smiles.
Thank you.
So thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for making the world a better place. It's my joy and privilege to walk along your side to help you, and you help me on this journey. So outstanding. Let's see here. Okay. RBP, you want to give us a wrap?
I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. Here's what I did. And this was a very selfish moment. I took a screenshot of this call because I want everyone to see that this call encompasses every kind of person on this planet besides a little bitty baby. But we were all once little bitty babies, so we're little bitty babies on there anyway. And
we even had them show up. I saw Mateo run past the screen looking and give us all a little goofy smile.
I know. And it's funny that we're sitting here talking about this, and it's funny that Eve, you said what you said about the music, because yesterday I went to hang out with my mama, and my little girl, the whole car ride, she was like, "Play some songs, Mom, play some songs." And so usually we always play all of our Christian songs, and she was like, "Mom, we need some old stuff." Okay, so you got to remember, I'm 45 and her daddy is 53. So when she says old stuff, she's thinking 80s, because that's what we listen to. My husband's a big 80s rocker. So she starts
What?
asking for, I know, what? She starts asking for Journey and Starship and all these old songs, and we are blasting them. If anybody saw us driving around anywhere, we're blasting them. And when we get out of the car and we go into any place, she looks around, and she's 8. She looks around and she goes, "Mom, this is so silly. This is so silly. We can all just be happy. This is so silly, Mom." And I thought, man, if we could all just have the innocence of that 8-year-old and realize, you know what? It is a choice. And the things that I heard today when y'all were talking, here's some things I heard. Can I hold the space for others while they gather themselves and exhale fear and doubt, and realize they can breathe in faith and courage? Can I speak loud enough to drown out the chaos in people's heads and in their ears? Because I did what Eve did yesterday. I moved forward on my path. I didn't get on somebody else's path. I moved forward on my path to consistently spread a smile and joy and kindness, because the only way to drown out chaos is to make the joy and the smiles and the love louder. That's the only way. If you go pushing against somebody that's pushing, you're only going to get in a pushing fight. That's all it is. But if you step out of that lane and you remain in your lane, so can I speak loud enough to drown out the chaos? Can I truly recognize that fear and doubt are the true enemy? That other person is not the enemy. The fear that has settled on them, the doubt that has settled on them, that's the enemy. And can I realize I have the cure for that? Now, whether they recognize it or not, it's not up to me. It's like what Sean says. If I'm going to take credit for their success, I got to take credit for their failure. So I can't decide if they're going to accept it or not, but their acceptance doesn't decide whether I give it or not. Sean started this phone call whether someone showed up or whether they didn't. He was not responsible for someone showing up. He was responsible for doing what he was called to do. That's what I'm responsible for. I cannot be responsible for if they act on it. I hope this is coming across properly. Can I talk louder with an opportunity of love and joy and peace? And what does that look like? How's that happen? What does it feel like? Do I allow the world to tell me what I have to say and what I have to do and how I have to act? That takes on the culture of what's out there in the world. The whole reason we're on this call is because we're world changers. The people on this call get up every morning because you're world changers, not changed by the world. You step out into the world and you change the world. And change is sometimes like sandpaper. Rough grit sandpaper. Sometimes that's what it feels like. What grabs my attention? And can I control where my attention goes? Do I have enough wherewithal about me to go, oh, hang on a second, why did that grab my attention? And get back on task. Are the words I use spoken at a joy frequency? I love what LaToya said. There's a vibration. And when we hear Sean speak, one of the reasons we all kind of perk up and go, what? Is because of the vibration he speaks at, the frequency that he speaks at. It creates an atmosphere of peace and a moment to exhale. Do I provide that? Can I provide that? How does that happen? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Do I need more of that? When we see others and they have a life that we want, we hear them because of their example. So whose example am I watching? Now, protesting is your right. Peaceful protesting is a smarter way to do so. Do I want the life of that protesting, or do I want to keep moving forward and show an example of freedom no matter what the surroundings look like? Freedom no matter what people are saying. These are all questions I'm dealing with. You can deal with them too, and you can discount them if you want to. I'm still going to deal with them. Do I provide a place of unity? And what kind of place of do I provide that shows unity? And what would a network marketing protest for independent wealth look like? That was one of my favorite questions I asked myself. What would a network marketing protest for independent wealth look like? To me, that's a curious statement. Can I remain consistent on my path, hold my place and space for others, and a leader remains on task? I did the same thing that Eve did yesterday, and I respect everybody for their place and their stance. I chose to continue moving forward with the smile that God provided me, to share that, because it was in rare form yesterday and it was the scarcity. Well, here's what I know: in a culture of supply and demand, if I'm giving one thing away that most people don't have at the moment, where does everybody look? They look at the one thing that they need more of, and it's kindness and love and joy and a reason to smile. So on my social media feed, you'll probably see some jokes. You'll probably see more smiles. You'll see another probably awkward video that I put up. I'm going to spread that. I'm going to remain on target. I'm going to do my best not to have a distraction or an attraction to that distraction. Like a sneeze, excuse me.
Bless you. Now,
So I love each one of y'all.
Here's a Jewish Babaism, right? My mother would say, anytime somebody sneezes while you're making a comment means it's true. That was a Jewish Babaism.
Amen.
So.
Never heard that, but I like it. I'm going to take that one. So if I can help you in any way today, gain a smile, reach out to me. I am honestly, you'll see another post today. I'm honestly collecting jokes.
Serbians say it, Jamaicans say it. Well, y'all East Texans need to get with the program. We've been using that saying around the world.
You make me laugh.
I'm
with
sure
the
there's
things
probably
that you share about your husband.
Do it?
Yes, you make me laugh. Like when you were looking at him and he was like, I don't know if he's fooling me, but I'm going to say those words.
Well, yeah. Okay. So real quick, let me address that. So this month is June 2020 is Men's Health Awareness Month. So I'm making a big push to get all you fellas healthy. And I'm doing this funny thing that by the end of the month, all my videos are going to have a special word or phrase in them, like a secret word or phrase. And whoever writes them all down all month long, at the end of the month, if only one person wrote them all down, then they'll get the prize. And if not, there'll be a drawing. So I asked my husband, and y'all, my husband's more East Texas than me. I asked my husband, he's a pipe fitter, who has been pipe fitting for 38 years. I said, I need words that are only spoken between men in men conversations. And it took him about 30 minutes to figure it out. And then when he did, he kind of went, And he started grinning. I was like, oh dear God, are you telling me stuff that like really aren't real? And I'm going to say crap on social media, and people that know it are going to be like, oh, bless her heart. Oh my gosh. Because when I was in retail, I worked in Foot Locker all through college. And when I was in retail, the new person would come in and we were in the mall, and we'd tell the new person, can you go down to this store? They borrowed our wall stretcher and we need to redo the displays. There's no such thing as a wall stretcher. So I told Rick, I was like, honey, don't you be putting me on social media telling me stupid words that don't mean anything. And I'm going to repeat them. So yesterday, when I said the secret phrase, and I'm not going to say it out loud, he was in the kitchen beyond the closed French doors. And when I said it out loud, he laughed out loud. And my man's super quiet. He laughed out loud. So I'm going to be doing words and phrases all night long that y'all, I don't know what's going to be coming out of my mouth. I don't even know if it's going to be real, but I'm doing it on purpose because, like you said, it makes you laugh and giggle. And if me being slightly retarded, even more so, bring some more giggles and chuckles, great. And I'm going to give things away because of it. And I would encourage you now more than ever, be a place of something like that. Give something away. Give it away. Who cares if it's going to cost you some money? Give it away. Like, just make it fun. I am hitting all the men, and it's funny that I decided this before all these major protests started kicking out and going crazy. I'm calling up men to be the men that I know God made them to be. And I'm calling them to rise up, because I'm going to tell you right now, y'all going to see posts from me like, I like me some men, I like me some eye candy. And size does matter, but not in the waistline. Y'all going to see posts like that. You're going to see some posts where I want guys to rise up and become the leaders that I want to walk behind. I don't want to walk just behind women. I want men to stand up and do that. I want to bring men that are being, quote unquote, crucified and slaughtered. I want to bring light on them for the leadership that they provide. Although I can bring life into this world as a woman with a womb, life don't get in there without a man. And I love that. I love that. That's where I'm going with this. If that man lost his life, I want to bring light to the fact that he was a man. And he was a man that God created for leadership. And if that's the way the enemy wanted to take him, I'm still going to use that as a place of leadership. I'm still going to use that as a place, a platform to rise up the men in my life. And all you men that are on this call, y'all are men in my life. So y'all rise up, y'all step up. Don't make me having to kick you square in the pants to make you rise up even more. Rise up with me. Because when you rise, guess what? I get to stand on shoulders that are even stronger. I get to stand on shoulders that were physiologically made for more strength than I can hold and I can handle. Y'all rise up, y'all give me a platform to stand on even stronger. And I love that. And I love me some men. I love me some male eye candy. Y'all gonna be getting shouted out all over the place this month. And anything I can do. You got some good stories, you ain't got to be in my business. You ain't got to be doing what I do. You got some good stories, you send them to me, because I'm gonna shout you out on my social media. I'm collecting guy stories all over the place, because I'm gonna show the world men are to be celebrated, and men can rise up, and they will rise up, and it'll take a strong woman like me to kick everybody else in the face and go, y'all need to be quiet and let some men show up, because they are amazing and I love them. So I'm going in a total different trajectory. I'm going on a total different plane. And the reason I'm doing it is because ain't nobody else there. And if ain't nobody else there, then I will be the queen of that plane. You can go with me. You can stay behind. You can find your own plane. Doesn't matter. But I love y'all. I love y'all. I'm so grateful for y'all. So thank you, Sean. I love y'all.
And there you go. Well, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all very much. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your tears and your joys. And this is your moment. This is your moment to become the world leader that you already are, and to start to take your place and find your recipe that serves you. I love you bunches. We'll see you all tomorrow morning. Don't forget, we got Dr. Amy on Saturday. You can invite some friends to that. That's going to be very powerful, especially in this moment. I'm Sean Murphy, founder of Mental Profits. I'll see y'all where? At the next event. Y'all send some love to each other.
I love y'all. Send me your guys' stories.
Love you guys. Have a great day.
Love you all. Have a great
Yeah.
day.
Guys.
I love you all.
Y'all have a wonderful day. I love
Have
you.
an amazing day.
Corinne, I love you, Corinne.
Bye.
Have a great day.
Have
a nice day, everybody.
Looking at all these beautiful pictures. Ada,
Here.
I love you, Ada.
Thank you, Sean.
Gigi,
Thank
I
you
love
for
you,
the
Gigi.
amazing
Many people are
content.
talking.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.